Welcome to a journey that will flip everything you thought you knew about being smart upside down. Today we're diving into the mind of Arthur Schopenhauer, the 19th century philosopher who dared to challenge the idea that intelligence is always a blessing. His secret, being smart, can sometimes trap you in a cycle of misery, overthinking, and dissatisfaction. In the lesson plan, we'll unpack Schopenhauer's philosophy, focusing on his radical views on the human condition, suffering, and the pitfalls of intellect. This isn't just a dusty old philosophy lecture. It's a wake-up call to rethink how we live, think, and chase happiness. Schopenhauer, often called the philosopher of pessimism, believed life is driven by an insatiable force he called the will, a blind, relentless drive that keeps us wanting, striving, and suffering. For Schopenhauer, being smart doesn't free you from this. It might even make it worse. The smarter you are, the more you're aware of life's absurdities, contradictions, and inevitable pain. This lesson will explore why Schopenhauer thought intelligence could be a curse, how his ideas connect to modern life, and what we can do to find peace in a world that never stops demanding more. We'll break this down into clear, engaging sections. Schopenhauer's life and worldview, the concept of the will, the curse of being smart, his solutions for escaping suffering, and practical takeaways for living better today. Whether you're a philosophy nerd or just curious about why life feels like a treadmill, this lesson will give you tools to see the world differently. Get ready to question everything. Let's dive into Schopenhauer's secret and why you might never want to be smart again. Who was Arthur Schopenhauer? To understand Schopenhauer's secret, we need to know the man behind it. Arthur Schopenhauer, 1788 to 1860, was a German philosopher whose ideas were so bold they shocked his contemporaries. Unlike the optimistic thinkers of his time, like Hegel, Schopenhauer saw life as a struggle, not a fairy tale. Born in Danzig, now Gdansk, Poland, he grew up in a wealthy merchant family, but was plagued by a turbulent personal life. His father died young, possibly by suicide, and his relationship with his mother was famously strained. Schopenhauer was a loner, a grump, and a genius who didn't care about fitting in. His magnum opus, The World as Will and Representation, 1818, laid out his philosophy. He argued that reality has two sides: the representation, the world as we perceive it, and the will, the underlying force driving everything. This wasn't just abstract theory. Schopenhauer's ideas were grounded in his observations of human nature. He saw people chasing desires, money, love, status, only to find fleeting satisfaction before wanting more. Sound familiar? It's like scrolling through social media, chasing likes, but never feeling fulfilled. Schopenhauer's pessimism wasn't just gloom for gloom's sake. He drew from Eastern philosophies like Buddhism and Hinduism, which he studied deeply, to argue that life is inherently unsatisfying. But he wasn't just a downer. He offered a way out, which we'll get to later. His style was direct, witty, and accessible. Unlike many philosophers who hid behind jargon, he influenced thinkers like Nietzsche, Freud, and even artists like Wagner, and his ideas still resonate in our hyper-connected, overstimulated world. Why does this matter? Schopenhauer's life shaped his philosophy. His isolation and struggles gave him a front-row seat to human suffering, making him question the value of intelligence. If being smart means seeing the world's flaws more clearly, is it really a gift? Let's explore his core idea, the will, to see why he thought it might be a curse. The will, the engine of suffering. At the heart of Schopenhauer's philosophy is the will, a concept that's both simple and mind-bending. The will isn't just willpower or personal ambition, it's the primal, universal force behind all existence. Think of it as the energy that makes plants grow, animals hunt, and humans chase dreams. It's not conscious or rational, It's blind, endless, and insatiable. For Schopenhauer, the will is why we're never satisfied, no matter how much we achieve. Imagine you're craving a burger. You get it, eat it, and feel great for about 20 minutes. Then you're hungry again, or you want something else. A better job, a bigger house, a new phone. This is the will at work, pushing you to keep wanting. Schopenhauer argued that this cycle, desire, brief satisfaction, more desire, is the root of all suffering. Life, he said, is like a pendulum swinging between boredom when we have what we want and pain when we don't. Here's where being smart comes in. And it's not good news. The more intelligent you are, the more you're aware of this cycle. A dog might want food and be content when it eats, but humans, we overthink. We see the futility of chasing desires, yet we can't stop. Schopenhauer believed that intelligence amplifies suffering because it makes us hyper-aware of life's contradictions. You might realize your dream job won't make you happy, but you still chase it. You know materialism is empty, but you still want that new gadget. This awareness, Schopenhauer argued, is what makes being smart a trap. He backed this up with examples from everyday life. Think about how we obsess over goals, getting a degree, landing a promotion, only to find they don't deliver lasting happiness. Schopenhauer would say that's the will tricking us. Modern science supports this. Studies on hedonic adaptation show we quickly return to a baseline level of happiness after achieving goals. The smarter you are, the more you notice this pattern, and the more it can weigh you down. But Schopenhauer didn't just point out the problem. He studied other traditions to understand it. He was fascinated by Buddhism's idea of desire as the cause of suffering, and Hinduism's concept of Maya, the illusion of the material world. These ideas shaped his view that the will is universal, not just personal. It's not just you wanting things. It's the universe itself, driving everything forward in a relentless, pointless march. So, why does this matter today? In our world of constant notifications, endless choices, and social media comparisons, the will is louder than ever. We're bombarded with desires, and being smart means we're aware of how futile it all is. Yet we keep scrolling, swiping, and striving. Schopenhauer's secret is this. Intelligence doesn't save you from the will. It makes you see it more clearly, and that can hurt. The curse of being smart. Let's get to the core of Schopenhauer's secret. Why being smart might make you miserable. In today's world, we worship intelligence. We chase high IQs, prestigious degrees, and clever ideas, thinking they'll lead to happiness. Schopenhauer would laugh at this. For him, intelligence isn't a golden ticket. It's a magnifying glass that makes life's flaws impossible to ignore. Here's how it works. The smarter you are, the more you analyze. You see through society's illusions, advertisements, status games, even relationships, and realize they're often hollow. But knowing this doesn't free you, it traps you. You're still human, still driven by the will, so you keep chasing things you know won't satisfy you. Schopenhauer called this the burden of consciousness. A less intelligent person might chase desires without questioning them, finding temporary contentment. But a smart person, they see the futility and suffer twice. Once from unfulfilled desires, and again from knowing those desires are pointless. He used a vivid metaphor to explain this. Life is like a play with no plot, and the smarter you are, the more you notice the script is nonsense. Studies in psychology back this up. Highly intelligent people are more prone to anxiety, depression, and existential crises because they overthink and question everything. Ever lay awake at night, wondering if your life has meaning? That's the curse Schopenhauer's talking about. He also pointed out that intelligence isolates you. Smart people often feel misunderstood, alienated from others who don't see the world as deeply or critically. Schopenhauer himself was a loner, and he argued that the most reflective minds are often the loneliest. In our hyper-connected world, this feels truer than ever. Social media lets us connect with millions, but how many of us feel truly understood? Schopenhauer didn't just theorize, he lived this curse. His own brilliance made him cynical, prickly, and isolated. He saw through the optimism of his time and rejected it. But that clarity came at a cost. He wasn't saying intelligence is bad, just that it's not the key to happiness. In fact, it can make happiness harder to find because it sharpens your awareness of life's absurdity. Let's bring this to today. Think about how being smart plays out in our lives. We're bombarded with information, news, data, opinions, and our ability to process it can leave us overwhelmed. We see the world's problems, climate change, inequality, political chaos, and feel powerless to fix them. The smarter you are, the more you see the cracks in the system, and the harder it is to stay hopeful. Schopenhauer's secret isn't that intelligence is useless. It's that it can chain you to a cycle of overthinking and dissatisfaction if you don't know how to manage it. Escaping the trap, Schopenhauer's solutions. So, if being smart traps us in suffering, what's the way out? Schopenhauer wasn't just a pessimist. He offered practical, if unconventional, solutions. His ideas for escaping the will and finding peace are surprisingly relevant, blending philosophy, art, and mindfulness in ways that feel modern. 1. Aesthetic contemplation. Schopenhauer believed art, music, painting, literature could temporarily free us from the will. When you lose yourself in a symphony or a beautiful painting, you're not desiring or striving, you're just being. He called this aesthetic contemplation, a state where you transcend your ego and connect with something universal. Music was his favorite example. It speaks directly to the will without words, bypassing the intellect's overthinking. Try this today. Put on a piece of music, no lyrics, just pure sound, and let it wash over you. Don't analyze it, just feel it. For a few minutes, you're free from the cycle of wanting. Schopenhauer thought this was one of life's rare escapes. 2. Asceticism. Schopenhauer admired ascetic traditions, like those in Buddhism and Christianity, that reject material desires. By living simply, focusing on what you need, not what you want, you weaken the will's grip. This doesn't mean becoming a monk, but it could mean cutting back on distractions. Unfollow accounts that make you feel inadequate. Stop chasing trends. Simplify your life to quiet the noise. In modern terms, this aligns with minimalism or digital detoxes. Studies show that reducing screen time lowers stress and improves focus. Schopenhauer would say it's not just about feeling better, it's about breaking free from the will's endless demands. 3. Compassion. Surprisingly, Schopenhauer believed compassion could help us escape suffering. When you care about others, you step outside your own desires and connect with a shared human experience. This weakens the ego, which is the will's loudest cheerleader. Helping others, volunteering, listening, or even small acts of kindness can shift your focus from your own struggles. Research in positive psychology supports this. Acts of kindness boost happiness and reduce feelings of isolation. Schopenhauer saw compassion as a way to transcend the self and find meaning in a world of suffering. 4. Resignation. Finally, Schopenhauer advocated for resignation, accepting that life is suffering and letting go of the need to control it. This isn't giving up, it's a radical acceptance of reality. By stopping the fight against the will, you find peace. Think of it like floating on water instead of swimming against the current. This resonates with modern mindfulness practices. Techniques like meditation or journaling help us observe our thoughts without getting caught in them. Schopenhauer's version is darker but powerful. Accept that life is tough, and you'll suffer less by not expecting it to be perfect. These solutions aren't easy, but they're practical. They ask us to rethink our priorities, step back from the rat race, and find meaning in small, intentional moments. Schopenhauer wasn't promising happiness, just a way to suffer less. Applying Schopenhauer's secret today. How do we take Schopenhauer's ideas and make them work in 2025? His philosophy might sound grim, but it's a goldmine for navigating our chaotic, overstimulated world. Let's break down how to apply his secret, why being smart can trap you and how to escape, without losing the spark that makes life worth living one. Limit information. Overload. Being smart today means drowning in information. We're constantly analyzing news, trends, and data, which amplifies the will's pull. Schopenhauer would tell us to cut the noise. Try a low-information diet. Unsubscribe from unnecessary newsletters. Mute distracting social media accounts, and limit news to once a day. Studies show that reducing information overload lowers anxiety and improves decision-making. Focus on what matters, deep knowledge over shallow updates. 2. Embrace boredom. Schopenhauer said life swings between boredom and pain. In our world, we avoid boredom like the plague, filling every second with screens or tasks. But boredom can be a gateway to creativity and reflection. Set aside time to do nothing. No phone, no TV. Let your mind wander. Research from psychology shows boredom sparks creative problem solving. Schopenhauer would say it's a chance to detach from the will's demands. 3rd, practice aesthetic moments. Make time for art, nature, or beauty. Whether it's listening to classical music, walking in a park, or reading poetry, these moments pull you out of the cycle of desire. Schopenhauer's aesthetic contemplation is like a mini vacation from your brain. Try this. Once a week, spend 30 minutes with something beautiful. No distractions, just presence. It's a reset for your overthinking mind. 4. Cultivate compassion. Schopenhauer's call for compassion is more relevant than ever. In a polarized world, connecting with others through kindness can ground us. Volunteer for a cause you care about, or simply listen to a friend without judging. Studies show that altruistic acts increase well-being and reduce stress. For Schopenhauer, compassion isn't just nice. It's a way to escape the ego's trap. 5. Accept imperfection. Resignation doesn't mean giving up. It means accepting life's messiness. In 2025, we're pressured to optimize everything. Our careers, bodies, relationships. Schopenhauer would say this is the will at work, setting impossible standards. Practice radical acceptance. Journal about what you can't control and let it go. Mindfulness apps or therapy can help here. The goal isn't perfection, but peace. 6. Reframe intelligence. Finally, rethink what it means to be smart. Schopenhauer's secret is that intelligence can be a burden if it's all analysis and no wisdom. Use your smarts to question the rat race, not fuel it. Ask yourself, am I chasing goals because I want them, or because society says I should? Channel your intelligence into meaningful pursuits. Learning for growth, not status. These steps aren't a cure-all, but they're a roadmap to live with less suffering. Schopenhauer's ideas remind us that happiness isn't about getting more, it's about wanting less. In a world that screams, achieve, consume, repeat, his secret is a quiet rebellion. Conclusion. So, why might you never want to be smart again? Schopenhauer's secret isn't about rejecting intelligence, it's about seeing it for what it is. A double-edged sword. Being smart lets you understand the world deeply, but it also makes you painfully aware of its flaws. The will drives us to chase desires we know won't fulfill us, and intelligence only sharpens that contradiction. But Schopenhauer didn't leave us hopeless. Through art, compassion, simplicity, and acceptance, we can loosen the will's grip and find moments of peace. This lesson has taken us through Schopenhauer's world, his life as a lonely genius, his concept of the will as the root of suffering, the curse of overthinking, and his practical solutions for living better. We've seen how his ideas apply to our modern lives, from information overload to the pressure to optimize everything. His philosophy isn't about giving up. It's about seeing clearly and choosing wisely. What's the big takeaway? Stop chasing the illusion of more. More intelligence, more stuff, more success. It's all the will playing tricks. Instead, focus on what quiets the noise. A walk in nature, a kind act, a moment of stillness. Schopenhauer's secret is a call to rebel against the endless striving that defines our world. You don't need to be less smart. You just need to use your smarts to live smarter. As you move forward, try one thing from this lesson. Maybe it's listening to music without distractions, cutting back on social media, or accepting one thing you can't change. Schopenhauer's ideas aren't easy, but they're powerful. They remind us that life is tough, but we can suffer less by letting go of what we can't control. Thank you for joining this journey into Schopenhauer's mind. His secret isn't about despair, it's about liberation. By understanding the will and the traps of intelligence, you can start to live on your own terms. So, go out there, question the chase, and find your own path to peace.